Chapter
NK
501,
Books.
Forging the Unicorn Arm.
By the stream, after waking up, So Fong checked the furnace. After a night of drying, it had become much stronger. He picked a dry straw, lit it and pushed it into the furnace, then added a few big logs, both to raise the heat and to dry the clay still damp inside. The wooden door opened. Lu Waimong walked out holding Mao Ka, calling, "So Fong, breakfast."
Come sit down.
Van Han gently invited, holding a wooden spoon. She served stew to everyone. Today they had Siberian venison stew with chicken mushrooms.
Lu Waimong ate heartily and praised, "This flavor is wonderful. How many days can the meat last?" So Fong asked. "No NGO."
Van Han, with her mouth full, gestured with her hands.
10 days? Then hunting is not urgent.
Seeing her nod, So Fong was relieved. He could focus on making tools first. After breakfast, each held a bellows and went downstairs.
So Fong, can these black grains really make iron?
Lu Waimong stirred the iron grains on the banana leaf.
Of course, though troublesome and low yield.
He replied.
So what to do? Pour directly?
Van Han pointed to the furnace. No, it is simple. Mix iron grains in carbon at 4:1 ratio, then dry them. His tone was calm. Lu Wai Thursday rolled her eyes. Preheating was not simple, the process was deadly. He crushed the carbon, mixed it 1:4, then placed into 2 clay jars. Carefully he put them in the second layer of the furnace. Fire engulfed at once. The girls quickly added wood. Flames roared. Good, start fanning, we stop only at night. He inserted the bamboo tube with the bellows at the bottom. Okay, start. Lu Waimong sat, muttering his words. Then she asked, "So Fong, did you say we stop only at night?"
Yes.
His eyes gleamed mischievously.
They burst out laughing.
Haha, her face must be saved as meme.
Indeed, subtitle, Who am I? Where am I? What should I do? Genius, all are too knee. Cough, kidding, but we can take turns resting, the bellows cannot stop. He explained. I really thought too simple.
Lu Waimong bowed, knowing her arms would ache.
Begin.
He shouted, pumping the leather bellows. Flames surged each time.
Start.
Van Han bit her lip, rolled sleeves, pumped harder. Fire grew.
Crackle. Whoosh.
Wood exploded, wind roared. The sisters clenched teeth, pumping hard.
Not wrong, I feel same. Van Han panted. Van Han, rest, make honey water.
He said softly.
Okay.
She put down bellows and went upstairs. Soon she returned with jar and cups of honey water.
Van Han, feed me. He said quietly. Okay.
She blushed, lifted the cup, open.
Ah.
He opened his mouth.
She poured honey water, wiping his lips. Gulp gulp. He swallowed, then said, more. Okay.
She poured the rest. Lu Waimong clenched her teeth, annoyed at the display.
Sister Thursday, rest, drink, I will pump.
Van Han spoke softly. She sat by him, took the bellows.
Okay. Lu Wai Thursday drank honey water, soothing her throat.
Sister Thursday, you rest, later Waimong replace.
He said. Okay. She agreed.
Huff huff. Lu Waimong pumped faster.
Mao Ka, play. Van Han said. Woof. Mao Ka raised paw. Sister Thursday, feed Mao Ka, may be hungry. She said. No problem.
Lu Wai Thursday lifted Mao Ka by the scruff. It instantly calmed, like a drunk dog being carried.
Chapter 502, Those Big Pig Hooves.
Lu Wai Thursday walked out of the wooden house, casually closed the main door to stop Mao Ka from running down again. She had just given Mao Ka a fresh leaf, enough to fill it up. Lu Wai Thursday sat by the furnace, saying, Lu Waimong, you can rest.
Clatter clatter, she lifted a ceramic bowl and drank honey water in big gulps. Do not drink so fast, you might choke. Lu Wai Thursday scolded.
She could not help but sigh, so refreshing.
No need, I am not tired.
So Fong replied flatly. Less than half an hour had passed, to him this was only the beginning.
Truly abnormal.
Lu Waimong exclaimed, unable to see any fatigue on So Fong. His fanning speed only grew faster. When you rest, let Van Han take a turn, switching will help last longer. So Fong arranged calmly.
Okay. Lu Waimong responded crisply. So Fong, will you really not rest? Van Han asked with concern. Lasting 2 more hours is no problem.
So Fong smiled with confidence. His body was strengthened, endurance amazing, otherwise he would not choose this method of forging. Time passed busily. More than 2 hours later, sweat poured from his forehead, his hands red and sore.
So Fong, rest now, I will continue. Van Han ordered sternly. All right.
So Fong exhaled steadily, waiting for the girl to start fanning before stopping. He drank more honey water. This was her third pot. The furnace heat had drenched all 4 of them in sweat, making them very thirsty. Looking up at the drone, So Fong hesitated but removed his only cloth shirt, exposing strong muscles.
So Fong's endurance is monstrous, I cannot keep up. Sisters, today is my 80th birthday, let So Fong serve me. You are young, you can wait. I am sick of these 3 words, put down that fan and give it to me. I suspect you are driving, by the way, can you take me along? His body now compared to before in the wilderness is a huge change. I also want to undress. NK Books.
Lu Waimong twisted her neck, her wet shirt sticking uncomfortably.
If you want fame by undressing, I will not stop you.
Lu Wai Thursday said coldly.
Even not undressing I am already famous. Lu Waimong snapped. Undressing makes you more famous. Lu Wai Thursday answered blandly. No thanks, those big pig hooves will see.
Lu Waimong pouted, glaring at the drone then at So Fong.
So Fong's mouth twitched. Why did she still look at him? Cough cough. He cleared his throat and bent to check the furnace.
The iron grains and charcoal glowed red but still far from melting.
So Fong, how is it? Van Han panted. Only red, still early. So Fong took a deep breath. Good, keep going. Van Han encouraged. Keep going. The sisters shouted together. Keep going.
So Fong raised a fist, then drank more honey water and sat to fan again.
Time moved on, another hour passed, the 3 girls rotated to rest. All right. Van Han stopped. So Fong glanced at the fire and called quickly, Van Han, add more wood, it is burning out. Yes, right away.
Van Han replied, ran to the warehouse, soon returned with wood, added it to the furnace, then went upstairs.
Still fun? Lu Wai Thursday asked her sister. Not fun at all.
Lu Waimong shook her knife like a drum. This was nothing like forging imagined.
Do not rush, less than halfway yet. So Fong poured cold water on her. The iron had not melted, only turned redder. You are killing my enthusiasm. Lu Waimong glared. You still have enthusiasm? Lu Wai Thursday asked surprised. Her face showed indeed so.
After 10 minutes, the girl opened the wooden door, came back carrying an iron pot in one hand and a ceramic bowl with chopsticks in the other, carefully going downstairs.
Who eats first? Van Han set down the pot and bowl. Have you eaten? So Fong asked without turning. Clatter clatter. Not yet.
Van Han admitted shyly, her belly rumbling.
All right. Van Han did not argue, lifted the pot of meat soup, blew softly then ate. Hoo-hoo. The meat was still hot, forcing her to exhale. Van Han, eat slowly, I can still hold on. Lu Wai Thursday gently advised. MHM.
Van Han puffed her cheeks, nodding while still eating quickly. Soon her bowl was empty.
I finished.
Van Han set the bowl down, rubbed her stomach, and sat again by the furnace.
The pot was limited, only one bowl per person. Thursday, rest and eat a little.
So Fong said gently.
Chapter 503, formed by quenching in cold water.
She picked up the earthen bowl of meat, trying to steady her trembling hand to keep balance, then put the meat into her mouth. She was indeed starving. After about 10 minutes, Lu Wai Thursday returned to her place, letting Lu Wai Meng take over. Too excited, hands are shaking. Lu Wai Meng exhaled lightly, then quickly raised the big bowl to eat meat.
Her hands kept trembling, clearly exhausted.
Soon Lu Wai Meng finished lunch, drank a bowl of honey water, then leaned and urged.
So Fong, you should eat now.
He stood up, poured the meat from the iron pot into a full bowl. The meat had long cooled, so Fong used chopsticks, ate several large bites, then sat to rest, after a while picked up the blower again. Time passed slowly, the sky darkened, the fire in the furnace still roared, the second layer crucible glowed red, iron inside melted into liquid.
So Fong glanced at it, then said in a low voice, Van Han, bring the grinding mold.
Yes. Van Han hurriedly left the blower, ran upstairs, soon came down with a processed wooden block shaped like a chopper mold. The wood had a hollow carved, shaped like a chopping knife, the blade side was deeper so sharpening later would take less effort.
So Fong, is this okay? Lu Wai Thursday asked breathlessly. Finally done.
Lu Wai Meng also stopped, collapsing exhausted, arms without strength.
Next is casting steel.
So Fong looked serious, took 2 wet sticks, waited for the fire to weaken and carefully clamped out the crucible. The sticks caught fire quickly, he let go, then repeated to remove the second crucible. He sighed, clamped and tilted to pour molten steel into the wooden mold, then poured the rest from the other crucible.
Sizzle.
As expected, the wood cannot withstand heat, must quench in cold water. So Fong sighed, carefully held the burning mold, turned and threw it into the nearby stream.
Sizzle. The mold hit water, white smoke rose, bubbles boiled, crackling sounds echoed. So Fong, will it work? Van Han asked worriedly. This is the only way now.
So Fong said helplessly.
If not cooled fast, the mold would burn, steel wasted, and to form a chopper shape would still need forging again, losing it would be worse.
Bubbles lasted a few minutes then disappeared, through clear water the mold lay at the bottom.
Can we lift it now?
Lu Wai Thursday asked softly.
Wait a bit, no hurry.
So Fong replied gently, ice water would be best, but the stream suffices. He waited a few minutes, then rolled up his pants, stepped in and lifted the mold.
Knock it and we will know. So Fong pressed his lips, tense inside.
He struck the mold against stone.
Crack. A dark steel block shaped like a chopper fell out, rolled to the ground with a metallic clang. He looked inside, the wood had charred to coal. He tossed it aside, touched the steel, still warm but manageable. Lifting it, he estimated weight 5 or 6 caddies, heavier and larger than the old chopper. The steel block, shaped like a chopper, both sides uneven like the moon surface, caused by steel soaking into burnt wood, but the blade side was smooth enough, just needed sharpening. Looks not bad. So Fong said with satisfaction, the handle longer, NK
grip better,
books.
weight increased suited him. Be careful, do not drop on your foot.
He warned. Too heavy, I cannot swing it. Van Han bit her lip in frustration, trembling hands handed it back. So Fong, no need to forge more? Lu Wai Thursday looked at the black steel, wanting to check but lacking strength.
Normally smelting involved repeated heating, forging, quenching, to remove impurities, making steel harder, called tempered steel. But in the wilderness, melting or into steel was already difficult. Being able to make steel at all is hard enough, no need for more details.
Lu Wai Meng nodded in agreement. If heated again, she would surely faint. Chapter 504, Can you be more careful? Truly, he has managed to forge the iron.
Ha Min could not help but marvel. One cannot help but admire, using this method to forge iron, only So Fong could do it. Von Lam twitched his lips with a sigh, glad he had not spoken too arrogantly before. As expected of So Fong, his head is full of strange ideas. No Tin Noyet lightly clapped, who would think of such a method?
Vi Din, what do you think? Ha Min asked curiously.
Van Han and the others endured so long, that is impressive.
Tay Vi Din replied calmly. Yes, the little lowly and the Lu sisters' endurance is terrifying. Ordinary people would collapse in less than half a day.
No Tin Noyet added, thinking that if it were her, she could not even last an hour fanning. The three girls could endure thanks to the supplements So Fong gave them earlier, strengthening their bodies and raising endurance.
Could survival training in the wild truly make one stronger? Ha Min joked. Perhaps so, Teacher Ha could give it a try.
No Tin Noyet smiled. With So Fong as a teammate, it may not be impossible.
Ha Min sighed. Why not go with Teacher Vong?
A sly glint flashed in No Tin Noyet's eyes. Von Lam twitched his lips. Why bring me up again?
He wanted to glare but held back. So Fong, chopping wood with satisfaction, said, That is enough for today, rest well, tomorrow I will sharpen the blade with woodcutting. I will cook dinner, you all rest. So Fong spoke gently, the three girls were exhausted, cooking would be too much for them. All right. Van Han smiled, her hands trembling, recovery would take days. Truly something to look forward to. Lu Wai Thursday's eyes lit up. No problem. So Fong said warmly.
Compared to the girls, he was much better, his hands ached but could still move.
It is dark, let us go back to the cabin, tonight I will massage you, it will help. So Fong carried the axe and went inside. All right.
Lu Wai Mong's eyes sparkled with anticipation.
Can you be more careful? Lu Wai Thursday muttered angrily. No, do you not want it? It feels good.
Lu Wai Mong tilted her head, teasing.
Shut up.
Lu Wai Thursday frowned, glaring at her sister. As long as she understood, that was enough.
He. Lu Wai Mong laughed and followed her sister.
Inside the cabin, So Fong set down the axe, placed a ceramic jar of water on the stove. The three girls sat, watching him.
So Fong, need any help? Van Han asked restlessly. No need, you should bathe first, do you not feel uncomfortable covered in sweat? He urged gently. I did not feel it before, but now that you say it, I really do.
Van Han tugged at her collar. Be good, bathe first, by the time you finish, the food will be nearly ready.
So Fong coaxed. All right. Van Han rose obediently.
So Fong glanced at the water, searched the shelf for herbs, planning to cook a tonic soup to strengthen and ease their pain. He washed wild mushrooms and greens, set them aside, then heated oil, adding cinnamon, perilla, and wild ginger to fry.
Some Siberian venison. He cut salted meat, washed it, chopped it into chunks, and tossed it into the pan to fry. Minutes later, he added water, mushrooms, and simmered. Van Han came out from bathing, inhaling, so fragrant. All right. She sat down eagerly. The Lu sisters also went to bathe. Half an hour later, the soup was set on the table. So fragrant. Van Han sniffed, the familiar taste made her swallow. I will not be polite. Lu Wai Mong quickly served herself. She blew, sipped, and exclaimed, as delicious as before, my body feels warm. Is it my illusion, my arm does not ache as much? Van Han said in surprise. Perhaps you were too hungry. So Fong winked. Over half an hour later, the four ate their fill, leaving only empty bowls, then drank hot tea. Unexpected. Lu Wai Thursday glanced at her sister's arm, whispering. Lu Wai Thursday frowned, nodding, yes, larger by a circle. Nonsense. Lu Wai Mong muttered. Lu Wai Mong, are you feeling lighter? Lu Wai Thursday asked half squinting. He. Lu.
Wai Mong smirked proudly.
Since you have energy, tonight you wash the dishes. Lu Wai Thursday crossed her arms. Sister, how could you?
Lu Wai Mong pouted, but under her sister's stern gaze, she stood up and gathered the bowls.
Chapter 505, Want me to help you?
Inside the wooden house, after dinner, the four of them sat around the table playing mahjong.
9 characters. Van Han's small hand trembled as she placed the bamboo tile down. After this round, let's rest, I will massage you.
So Fong said gently.
All right. Van Han nodded obediently. Wait, 9 characters, Pang.
So Fong smiled, picked up the tile, and discarded one from his hand.
5 minutes later. For concealed 1 suit.
So Fong pushed his tiles, winning the round.
Again self-draw.
Books. The 3 girls sighed, this was the 3rd time tonight he won like that.
MHM. Van Han blushed and pouted.
She removed her shoes, climbed onto the big bed, glanced at the camera, and said innocently, So Fong, the camera.
I know.
He pulled the screen to block the lens, standing beside the bed.
Who?
The girl sighed, undid her rope shirt, leaving only her undergarments, and slipped into the sleeping bag, hiding her face. So Fong circled around, climbed onto the bed, and sat beside her.
MHM.
She lowered her head with a faint sound. He focused, found the acupoints on her back, and pressed with special technique to speed blood flow.
Ah!
The Lu sisters looked at each other in silence.
Sister, let's play chess. Lu Wai Mong whispered. All right. Lu Wai Thursday nodded.
She got the set, divided the pieces, and set the board. You first. Lu Wai Mong said indifferently.
Okay.
Lu Wai Thursday frowned, sensing her sister was off. They played with no passion.
So Fong massaged her shoulder and asked softly, Is the pressure fine? Yes, just right. Her voice came faintly from the sleeping bag. Comfortable? He teased with a smile. Comfortable.
Her voice was so soft it was barely audible.
Good then.
He changed hand technique, rubbing her arm.
Ah! She trembled as if electricity flowed through her. Cough, lower your voice. He reminded. Okay.
She blushed, lay down again, panting. After 20 minutes, she dressed neatly, her face red, and came out.
Van Han, why is your face so red? Lu Wai Mong asked curiously. Is it?
She covered her cheeks, her eyes dazed, feeling light, even her sore arms eased.
Next, who? So Fong peeked out.
The sisters glanced, then Lu Wai Mong raised her hand, me.
Come here. He withdrew. Sister, I will go, take care.
Lu Wai Mong held her sister's hand, pretended reluctance, then walked behind the screen.
Is Sister Mon eager or reluctant?
Van Han covered her mouth and laughed.
I will play chess with her. Van Han sat opposite Lu Wai Thursday. Thursday, why is the board so messy? Since when can the general move out of palace? She stared blankly.
Lu Wai Thursday frowned, puzzled by the strange board.
All right. Van Han nodded.
Behind the screen, Lu Wai Mong sat nervously.
Take off your clothes. He said calmly. What, want me to help you undress? He teased. Okay.
She replied instinctively. He froze, shocked at her openness. She realized and hurriedly added, just joking.
Blushing, she took off her coarse shirt, looked at her underwear, and asked, Should I remove this too? No need, lie down. He replied quickly. Okay. She lay down, glancing at him from the corner of her eye. Endure, it may hurt. He warned. All right. She nodded.
He pressed her shoulder point with his fingers.
Ah! She cried out, unprepared.
The viewers began to chatter.
That moan makes me restless. What's happening behind the screen? The loli still calmly plays chess, impressive. All men are scum. Your thoughts are dirty, he's just massaging.
After 20 minutes, Lu Waimong came out with a flushed face. Now she understood why Van Han looked like that.
How is it, comfortable? Van Han laughed. My bones feel like melting. Where did he learn that technique? She sighed, still unsatisfied. Thursday, your turn. His voice came. Coming.
Lu Wai Thursday stood, curious. After 20 minutes, when she came out, she realized her sister and Van Han were not pretending. She remembered one move. He braced her back with his knee, grabbed her wrists, pulled back until her bones cracked sharply.
Chapter 506, Spring Outing.
It was not because of the force, but because the three girls had too many places on their bodies that could not be touched, and he was at a hot-blooded age, so he was restrained and awkward.
Hee, how about I help you massage?
Lu Waimong rubbed her hands and laughed.
Yes.
Van Han nodded continuously.
So Fong raised his brows and asked with a smile, what, your arms are not sore?
Ugh. Lu Waimong was speechless, her hands useless.
Hee, then you can try a back-stepping massage.
Van Han covered her mouth and giggled.
Back-stepping massage? I guess you would stomp me to vomit blood.
So Fong twitched the corner of his mouth, looked around at the three and fell silent.
You mean we are heavy? Lu Waimong glared angrily. I did not say that. So Fong laughed under their white eyes.
With this way, you will not find a girlfriend.
Lu Waimong pouted angrily. No hurry, maybe one will come to me.
So Fong folded his arms and smiled.
All right, you are not heavy, with one hand I can lift you all.
So Fong made a surrender gesture and laughed.
The three of us together are still less than 320 Jin, of course you can lift.
Lu Waimong said innocently, thinking of his usual wood carrying. She doubted if he was a monster.
He thought, if he could obtain a high-grade body-strengthening potion, could his strength break through 10,000 Jin? If true, that potion might appear in the 5-year sign-in gift. There are still 249 days until the 5-year gift. So Fong sighed inwardly. All right.
He stood up, took clothes and towel into the bathroom. After a tiring day he needed a good bath. More than 10 minutes later, after bathing he came out wiping his hair. The three girls were laughing around the wooden table, mahjong already set.
Are you not tired? So Fong asked helplessly. One more round then sleep.
Van Han pouted pitifully.
All right.
So Fong smiled indulgently.
Truth proved, a woman's mouth can lie. The mahjong went one round after another, until the three finally tired of winning. Climbing into bed, Van Han yawned.
If I knew, I would not have agreed to play mahjong to death. So Fong shook his head with a bitter smile.
Hee, but did you not have fun too?
Van Han lay down, arms and legs like an octopus wrapped around him. Now a habit.
Sleep quickly, staying up is bad for skin. So Fong whispered. Good night.
Van Han's soft voice sounded. She laid on his chest and closed her eyes.
So Fong looked at her and gently replied, good night. He closed his eyes too, while in his mind the order appeared, sign in.
A thought moved, the virtual screen popped up, the number 27 lit up.
Early morning, the sky clear, another sunny day.
In the wooden house, the 4 had risen.
Why do I feel more sore than yesterday?
Van Han wrinkled her nose in pain, her body felt beaten.
Today hurts more, I do not want to move.
Lu Waimong groaned, her arms aching as if life meaningless.
This is delayed muscle soreness.
So Fong explained softly.
It appears 12 to 24 hours after exercise. Normally in 3 to 7 days it eases.
So Fong wagged his finger and continued, but you will recover faster.
Because you massaged us?
Lu Wai Thursday asked softly.
Yes, did you not notice that though sore, your spirit is good? So Fong reminded.
Yesterday he massaged them, relaxing their bodies, or else today they would be worse, even unable to hold chopsticks.
Seems so.
Lu Wai Mong sat up, her spirit indeed much better.
Then later you massage us again?
Van Han fluttered her lashes, tilting her head.
No problem. So Fong petted her head. But first nurture your body. So Fong smiled, sharpening knives did not delay chopping wood. Lu Wai Thursday nodded.
I really want to bathe in hot springs. Lu Wai Mong suddenly said.
Yes, a hot spring bath should help the body recover faster. Van Han looked expectantly. To enjoy hot springs, we must stay outside overnight.
So Fong calculated, with no snow. The road was easier, but it still took more than half a day.
He asked, can you walk such a long way? No problem, only arms hurt, walking is fine.
Lu Wai Mong jumped down. Then let us go to the hot spring, treat it as a spring outing.
So Fong nodded. Great, I will pack. Van Han cheered. Lu Wai Mong muttered, not sure if the temporary shelter last time still exists.
We must leave more food for Mao Caw. Van Han whispered, laying leaves and wild vegetables.
After half an hour, the four packed and set out. Chapter 507, Big Yam.
By the small stream, the four of them walked downstream together.
Lu Wai Mong softly hummed and asked, So Fong, should we go back to the old camp first? Yes, from that way we will stop for a while. So Fong nodded and explained. They moved slowly, and after more than 2 hours reached the old camp.
The place was still messy, piles of stones remained, with half of the stone wall still standing, but the traces of the flood were covered by weeds and vines.
Thinking back now, I feel nostalgic. So Fong sighed.
Now the wooden house is also very good. Van Han held his hand and said softly.
Come on, let us bathe in the hot spring. So Fong smiled and pulled the girl, walking through the old camp toward the forest of number 50.
The mountain path was overgrown, they had to clear with tools, so the speed slowed. After more than an hour, the hill appeared before them. After the previous discovery of deer grass, this time entering the forest they saw no deer, which made them a little disappointed.
Hick hick.
Lu Wai Mong pursed her lips and carefully climbed a big rock that had blocked the mountain road to the hot spring.
Van Han, sweating heavily, asked, So Fong, how much longer? So Fong recalled and calculated, probably half an hour more. Then we will still make it before night.
Van Han sighed with relief. It had taken longer than expected, now less than 2 hours remained before dark.
Okay. So Fong nodded, glancing around at traces of animals.
They went on, and half an hour later felt hot steam on their faces. He turned back and warned, Be careful.
Okay. The three girls replied, holding bows and knives tightly. Step, step, step.
Minutes later, hot steam rose, the hot spring appeared, and also a group of deer drinking.
When they saw the group, they ran away. So Fong, why did you not shoot?
Van Han asked in doubt, for he had already drawn the bow and aimed.
Now is not the time, the smell of blood will draw beasts. So Fong shook his head. Since they wanted to bathe here, safety came first.
Hunting could wait, he was confident.
Van Han understood, stuck out her tongue and praised, You are thoughtful. Let us go up.
So Fong smiled, touched her cheek, and climbed the broken wall.
He looked back, seeing the hot spring still calm. Lu Wai Mong asked, So Fong, how is it up there? It is fine, come up. He bent down and reached out, Give me your hand. Be careful. He pulled the girl up. Below, the Lu sisters looked expectantly. He smiled, Give me your hand. Yes.
Lu Wai Thursday bit her lip and held his hand.
Thank you.
Her face turned red and she avoided his eyes.
Nee.
Lu Wai Mong waved.
Come up.
NK Books. So Fong smiled, grabbed her hand and pulled her up. So Fong, our shelter is still here.
Van Han waved and shouted, just repair it simply and we can use it. That will save time. So Fong said. I thought beasts had destroyed it. Van Han nodded. Just change the straw inside. So Fong tested the frame, it was still strong, only the straw had rotted. He took out some black carbon balls and buried them, insect repellent he had prepared. So Fong, let us find wild greens for dinner. Van Han gently pulled his sleeve. Okay. He nodded and told the sisters, do not go far, call me if needed. Alright, be careful. Lu Wai Thursday replied. Let us go. So Fong held her hand and walked into the forest. So Fong, here is clover. Van Han soon found a patch. Yes, edible. He said. Clover could be eaten when food was scarce. Then I will pick some. She squatted and plucked the leaves. Van Han, I will look around, be careful, do not wander. He told her. Yes, I will wait here. She replied. So Fong looked around, then walked on. He stayed within 100 steps around the three girls, searching. Ah! This leaf looks familiar. He stopped by weeds where vines grew, many dry but new sprouts at the base. The leaves were small, heart-shaped, green. This vine should be Big Yam. His eyes lit, remembering the orphanage where Uncle Wang had planted it. So many yams, this is valuable. He smiled, happy for another main dish. Chapter 508, Can Soak Together. He stood up and walked toward the girl, she was still crouching and picking three-leaf grass. So Feng, did you find something? Van Han heard footsteps and turned her head. I found many big tubers, I will fetch the entrenching shovel. So Feng replied with a smile. Big tubers? Did old Wang used to grow those? Van Han asked in surprise. Yes, that is right. So Feng clapped his hands. Van Han quickly stood up, her face full of joy, and said, Then I will go dig too. Let us go. So Feng took the bamboo basket from her hands, holding her hand toward the temporary shelter. Ah, why are you two back so soon? Did you find wild vegetables? Lu Waimong had just changed the hay in the shelter when she saw them coming. We found some three-leaf grass, and So Feng said there are big tubers, so we came back for the shovel to dig. Van Han said with a smile like a flower. Big tubers, are there really big tubers here? Lu Wai Thursday was a little surprised. Big tubers, also called face tubers, are a nutritious food. Compared with other tubers, they contain more protein and less fiber. Their roots are not rotten, the sweet and sour taste is sticky, and they have high medicinal value, strengthening spleen and lung, nourishing kidney, detoxifying and relieving pain, treating diarrhea, cough, pain, and ulcers. Yes, and there are many, digging should be enough for us to eat for some time. So Feng nodded and smiled. Good. So Feng looked up at the sky, there was only about 1 hour until dark, the sun was moving westward, soon blocked by the distant mountain. He led the way, and after a few minutes they reached the place with tubers. They are really big tubers. Lu Wai Thursday's eyes shone as she whispered. I will dig, you handle them, it will be faster. So Feng put down the basket, pulled out the shovel, first cutting weeds to expose the tubers. The shovel dug down, handfuls of soil were removed, about 10 centimeters down the first tuber was dug up. The tuber appeared as an irregular cylinder, light brown outside, with wrinkles, diameter about 3 to 4 centimeters, length about 10 centimeters, with a large head. Still quite big. Lu Wai Thursday received the tuber and brushed off soil. They looked different from those sold in the market. Lu Wai Mong said in surprise. Wild tubers are mostly cylindrical, while market ones are cultivated, so the shapes vary. Lu Wai Thursday whispered. I see. Lu Wai Mong stroked the tuber. So Feng kept digging. There were so many tubers that even until night they could not finish.
The three girls squatted to clean the tubers. As night fell, the baskets filled, almost overflowing.
So Feng shook dirt off the shovel and sighed. Good, this should be the last one. Oh no. Van Han suddenly remembered. What is it, Van Han? So Feng asked. I forgot to collect firewood. Van Han said bitterly.
I thought it was something serious. Let me handle firewood. First take the tubers back.
So Feng said with relief.
He carried the big basket, holding the small one with the other hand, under the shy gaze of the three girls. After a few minutes returned to the hot spring clearing.
So Feng, I will go with you. Lu Waimong brought a lit torch. Let us go. So Feng took the rope and under torchlight entered the forest again. Rumble.
Van Han squatted by the water, washing the tubers. Lu Wai Thursday held the torch to shine, the sky already fully dark. The girl washed the tubers, peeled them, cut into pieces soaking in water to avoid discoloration. Then she took out Siberian venison, chopped into pieces, put in a clay bowl ready, also cut wild ginger into pieces.
It should be enough. So Feng put down the firewood. Enough, you worked hard. Van Han said gently. Then just treat us with good food. So Feng smiled. No problem, I promise satisfaction. Van Han vowed, turned to light the fire, washed the iron pot, placed it on the fire, when dry poured some oil.
When the oil was hot, she added ginger, then meat, stir-fried until fragrant, then removed into a clay plate. Van Han added more oil, drained. Tubers and fried until slightly soft, then added water, cooked more than 10 minutes until almost dry, then poured the fried meat back, stir-fried until sauce thickened. A fragrant tuber stew was ready.
Done, dinner is ready.
Van Han carefully lifted the pot. So fragrant.
Lu Waimong eagerly picked up chopsticks, took a piece of tuber, blew, and ate.
Her eyes sparkled with joy, soft and tender, very delicious.
This can be a main dish. So Feng chewed tuber softly. Lu Waimong's mouth puffed, voice muffled, can it be eaten raw?
She remembered many tubers like sweet potato can be eaten raw, crispy and sweet. No, raw tubers are slightly toxic, eating will cause numbness and diarrhea.
Lu Wai Thursday warned seriously. Okay. Lu Waimong gave up eating raw. Did you not want to bathe in the hot spring? Now you can soak.
So Feng said softly.
So Feng, you will not soak?
Van Han tilted her head.
You soak first, I will watch.
So Feng said gently.
Chapter 509, Soaking in Water. What do you mean good? Lu Yimeng asked suspiciously.
No, let us go to the hot spring. Van Han blushed and quickly said, her heart puzzled. She had clearly whispered, yet how did So Fong hear it?
Okay. Lu Yimeng had no time to react before being dragged away. Cough, cough.
So Fong cleared his throat, turned his back, and controlled the drone hovering above. Soon, the sound of flowing water came from behind.
So comfortable.
Lu Yimeng sighed, leaving only her head above the surface, her body surrounded by warm water, her whole self relaxing, slowly calming down. If it were not for the fact that one cannot breathe underwater, I would want to sleep here. Van Han's little face turned red, steam covering her features.
If only every day we could soak a little in hot springs.
Lu Yithu also sighed, her arms finally relieved.
I have a good idea. Lu Yimeng's eyes lit up. What idea? Van Han and Lu Yithu asked curiously.
We can build a large bath, then soak every day. It would be similar to a hot spring.
Lu Yimeng said seriously. Very different.
Lu Yithu curled her lips.
Really? Lu Yimeng looked doubtfully at her sister.
Of course, natural hot springs contain minerals, which kill bacteria on the skin.
Lu Yithu whispered.
Building a large bath is not hard, but how to keep warm? We cannot always throw hot stones in, right?
Van Han asked, chin in the water. That is simple, dig a stove under the bath, light a fire. Lu Yiming eagerly suggested. Is that not okay? Lu Yiming asked shyly. Possible, but not with fire directly, use charcoal to keep warm. So Fong said, fearing she would cook herself. So we make it when we return? Lu Yiming pressed. First we need a huge kiln. So Fong smiled bitterly, for a bath must be more than 1.5 meters wide, the current kiln was too small. No problem, the clay digging is yours. So Fong laughed. No problem, leave it to me. Lu Yiming replied confidently. Who would think, we come to the wild to survive yet think about enjoyment? So Fong shook his head, wondering how other contestants were. He, so Fong, come enjoy too. Lu Yiming splashed. Are you not afraid I will see everything? So Fong joked. It is pitch black, we are underwater, unless you have night vision, you cannot see. Lu Yiming raised her chin proudly. Yes, come down. Van Han said gently. It is fine. Lu Yitha said softly, though her face flushed. Night vision, huh? So Fong frowned, his sight now not much different. So Fong? Van Han called from behind. Coming. So Fong pursed his lips, stood, took off his clothes, keeping only underwear, and stepped in. The water splashed as he swam towards the three, stopping 3 meters away, gazing into the air. Very nice. So Fong felt awkward, then sank underwater. After a while, he rose again. So Fong, can you teach us to hold breath longer? Lu Yiming asked. That cannot be learned quickly, you need years of practice like me. So Fong said. Years? Then I give up. Lu Yiming decided, as it took too long. That is called knowing when to retreat. She then dived again. Be careful, without warming up you may cramp. So Fong warned. No way, I cramped, help me. Lu Yiming's voice echoed from the dark. Sister Meng, stop fooling. Van Han laughed. Splash. Clunk, not joking. Her voice broke, water thrashing. Acting is good. Lu Yithu commented. Not good, could it be true? So Fong twitched, turned to look. In the dark, only 2 girls remained visible, further away bubbles and ripples rose, but no Lu Yiming. Damn, really? So Fong cursed, then shot forward to where she sank. So Fong? What is wrong? Van Han asked nervously. Sister Meng? Lu Yitha's face went pale, she swam quickly, panic in her eyes. Sister Meng, not real, right? Van Han screamed, awkwardly swimming. So Fong reached the spot, dived, vision blurring. Lu Yiming, do not joke. Lu Yitha shouted, face tense. Splash. Water sprayed, so Fong lifted Lu Yiming to the surface. Heavens, Sister Meng, what happened? Van Han asked anxiously. Chapter 510, Playing with Water. There should be no problem. So Fong said in a low voice, gently patting Lu Yiming's back. Cough cough, I almost choked to death. Lu Yiming suddenly coughed, water flowed from her mouth and nose, clearly she had swallowed a lot. Thank goodness, you are fine, you scared me to death. Lu Yi Thursday blushed, finally letting go of her worry. Hoo. Van Han also sighed softly, then quickly held So Fong's arm, she had no strength left. If it had been a little later, I would have rolled my eyes and left this world. Lu Yiming weakly complained. I thought you were joking. Lu Yi Thursday pursed her lips, slightly embarrassed, her sister often joked, so she had not reacted in time. All right, let us go ashore. So Fong spoke softly, the soft sensation on his arm made his heart ripple. My leg is still cramping. Lu Yiming pouted. Sister, can you still swim to shore carrying me?
Lu Wai Mong glanced at her sister and asked. Lu Wai Thursday was speechless, her arms were sore, carrying someone would surely cause cramps before reaching shore.
I will take you up. So Fong took a deep breath and said. This.
Lu Wai Mong suddenly blushed, stammering.
But I have no clothes. Cough, I will close my eyes and take you ashore. So Fong coughed twice and said. Lu Wai Mong finally relaxed. Well. Van Han shyly said. So Fong, I also have no strength. Then come with me, get on my back.
So Fong spoke softly.
Okay.
Van Han obediently nodded, wrapping her arms around his neck and lying on his back. Lu Wai Mong honestly let So Fong hold her, slowly swimming toward the shore.
Splash. Lu Wai Thursday hurriedly followed behind.
Lu Wai Mong turned her head to look at So Fong's knife-carved face, slightly dazed. Soon, So Fong's feet touched the bottom, he closed his eyes, carried Van Han and helped Lu Wai Mong ashore.
So Fong, let me down. Van Han blushed and said. All right.
He bent, the girl slid off his back, then quickly went ashore, dried herself and dressed.
Thud thud.
Lu Wai Thursday also came up, covering her chest. Seeing So Fong close his eyes, she quickly dried and dressed.
So Fong, let me care for Sister Mong.
Van Han and Lu Wai Thursday approached, put a towel on his head, then supported Lu Wai Mong to shelter. So Fong quietly turned, wiped his hair, a hot spring scene lingered in his mind, his keen sight was indeed troublesome. After more than 10 minutes, Van Han's voice came.
So Fong, it is fine now.
He turned, wrapped a towel around his waist, went to the forest to change clothes, then returned.
How is she? He asked softly. Lu Wai Mong lay in the shelter, weakly saying. It is fine, just a little tired. Good.
Lu Wai Mong struggled to sit, sat by the fire, hands combing her short hair.
Next time, warm up before moving.
So Fong advised.
I know.
Lu Wai Mong nodded, still frightened. Almost fell into a chasm, met a jaguar, now nearly drowned in a hot spring.
You are too restless, water is not for this season. Lu Wai Thursday scolded. That is right. The other three agreed in unison.
Lu Wai Mong shyly closed her mouth.
No more soaking, I will just use a big bath. Lu Wai Mong waved her hand, unwilling to experience drowning again. I think even in a bath, you need someone watching.
Lu Wai Thursday said coldly.
Not necessary. Lu Wai Mong shouted. Ha ha ha. So Fong could not help laughing. So Fong, thank you for saving me.
Lu Wai Mong grew serious, bowed.
I also must thank you for saving my sister. Lu Wai Thursday also stood, eyes moist. This. So Fong was at a loss.
All right, Sister Mong, Sister Thursday, sit down, we are friends, no need for such courtesy.
Van Han quickly pulled them down. So Fong exhaled in relief, secretly sending the girl a grateful look. He sat, thought, then said. We chose to survive together, helping each other is natural, do not take it to heart. Good, sleep. Now, it is late. So Fong softly said.
Lu Wai Mong stood, laid out her sleeping bag, crawled in. So Fong stroked her hair, gently said.
You too, go to sleep. And you? Van Han asked, lashes trembling. I will watch the night, not too late. So Fong said. Then I will stay with you. Van Han lay down, resting her head on his thigh. All right.
So Fong added wood to the fire, gently twined her hair with his fingers.
Van Han yawned.
The night breeze brought earthy fragrance, the girl closed her eyes, her breath slowly evened.
Chapter 5:11, The Strong Thrive, the Weak Fall.
On the mountain slope near the wooden hut, Nantan Nak had just left her bed and crouched by the fire preparing breakfast.
Clatter clatter.
The iron pot hung over the fire, boiled furiously, while vegetable and meat soup steaming, smoke drifted out through the chimney.
Mum.
On the wooden bed, Nan Noonock mumbled in her sleep, then turned toward the fire, sniffed lightly, and slowly opened her eyes. Awake already? Wash your face and get ready for breakfast. Nan Noonock looked up and whispered, stirring the food in the iron pot.
Sister, why are you up so early?
Nan Noonock sat up slowly, rubbed her eyes, shaking off the last bit of sleepiness.
We must head out early today,
Nan Noonock said softly.
Going hunting again?
Nan Noonock pursed her lips. Yes, the remaining meat is only enough for 2 meals. If we fail to hunt, then we will eat only wild greens.
Nan Noonock took a deep breath and spoke.
Lately she often went hunting, but the gains were small. Only 3 days ago she had shot a rabbit, now almost finished.
It is difficult. Without meat, nutrition will be lacking.
Her voice
NK
sank.
Books.
A long vegetarian diet without protein and fat easily causes malnutrition, weakens immunity, and invites illness. Nan Noonock hesitated, then clenched her small fist, said, Then I will hunt with you. Nan Noonock was startled. This was the first time Noonock asked to hunt. Usually she stayed home while her sister went out.
All right.
She smiled and nodded.
MHM.
Nan Noonock left the bed, put on shoes, grabbed washing tools to tidy herself. Soon after, the two sisters sat around the fire, wooden bowls in hand for breakfast.
Sister, where shall we hunt today? Nan Noonock asked quietly. Down the mountain, there are deer and Siberian roe. Nan Noonock replied. Okay, then let us leave after eating, else we may not return before dark. Nan Noonock said while eating. Do not rush, if we cannot return we can sleep outside. Nan Noonock hurried to remind, afraid she might choke. Outside is too dangerous.
Nan Noonock shook her head, hand on her cheek, looking somewhat down. Nan Noonock sighed silently, perhaps only pain could make her sister mature. Noonock, after descending, follow me closely, do not run,
she instructed. Yes.
The younger one nodded earnestly.
Let us go.
Nan Noonock carried the quiver, left hand held the bow, right hand the chopping knife, leading her sister downhill. The path was rough, especially after spring rains, weeds and vines grew fast. The road cleared days ago was covered again. Careful, watch your step, do not slip.
She looked back and reminded. Got it. Nan Noonock followed carefully. Clop clop clop.
Sister, here are wild greens, the kind we often eat.
Nan Noonock's eyes brightened, pointing ahead. Dig them on the way back.
Nan Noonock answered without turning. Now the hunt mattered most.
Ah, all right.
She glanced at the greens with longing, then followed her sister.
Lighten your steps.
Nan Noonock suddenly stopped, whispered low. There are Siberian roe, do not scare them. She explained, a herd grazed on tender grass ahead, more than a dozen. Nan Noonock grew curious and tense, hands covering her mouth, not daring to move. This was her first hunt.
MHM. She nodded like a pecking bird. Do not run, take this knife for defense.
Nan Noonock smiled, stroked her head, and placed the knife in her hands.
Be careful, she said worriedly. I know. Nan Noonock grasped the bow, quietly circled closer. Nan Noonock squatted, peering through leaves, palms sweating on the knife. Whether we have meat depends on you.
Nan Noonock muttered, drew an arrow and set it. She rose 10 meters from the herd, aimed, and released with fluid motion.
Whoosh! Ack ack!
The herd panicked, fled quickly, only a small one limped behind. Nan Noonock rushed, grabbed its neck, threw it down, drew another arrow, thrust into its neck, and pinned it.
Ack ack! It struggled but weakened as breath failed.
Nan Noonock's face was firm, pressing it down. On screen, viewers flooded comments.
So fierce, ruthless strike. If not kill, then what? In the wild without decisiveness you are eliminated.
Without this kill, the sisters would have no meat. The strong thrive, the weak fall, pity has no place here, she was right.
Thud thud thud. From afar came footsteps, then another herd appeared.
Nantannak froze briefly, then quickly raised her bow, drew an arrow, but as she aimed the herd turned and fled. Chapter 5:12, only 13 teams remain. She turned to check the small deer, confirmed it had died and felt relieved, then stood up and called to her younger sister, You can come here.
Ah. Okay.
Yu was startled for a moment, then quickly stood up, grabbed the hatchet and ran to her sister. Xingyu put away the longbow, squatted down and pressed the wound of the deer with one hand, the other held the arrow shaft, gently moved it and then pulled it out forcefully.
Puff!
The arrow came out, blood gushed. Xingyu hurriedly grabbed mud from the ground, pressed it on the wound to cover the blood smell and avoid unnecessary trouble.
Sister, you are amazing.
Yu sat beside her sister with admiration on her face. Since childhood, her sister always cared for her more, especially in archery. 693 was much stronger than herself, though not always perfect. 8 out of 10 arrows hit the target.
If you practice more, you will be stronger than me.
Xingyu released her hand from the wound, the bleeding had stopped.
I do not like it.
Yu pouted and shook her head. She shyly lowered her head and whispered, I like painting, dancing, and singing. That is good, then after we return we will learn painting and dancing. Xingyu spoke softly, her sister having her own passion was a good thing, at least she would not be as gloomy as before.
Okay. A rare smile appeared on Yu's face. Then let us return, tonight we will eat venison.
Xingyu used the same method to pull the arrow from the deer's neck.
Okay, let us carry together. Yu squatted quickly, tied the deer's limbs with rope. No need, it is light. Xingyu bent down, lifted the deer onto her shoulder, and said, You take the hatchet and the bow and lead ahead. Okay. Yu answered softly, turned to pick up the weapons and walked ahead. Xingyu bit her lip and followed with the prey. They returned along the old path, but going uphill was harder than down, carrying the prey slowed them a lot. After more than 1 hour, Xingyu was exhausted, panting, Yu, stop and rest. Sister, maybe we carry together, I have much strength. Yu pursed her lips and said seriously. Okay. Xingyu smiled bitterly and nodded, remembering the first hunt when she shot a young deer. They returned late and almost collapsed. I will cut a stick for carrying. Yu took the hatchet, found a tree trunk and chopped hard. Be careful. NK
Xingyu
books.
frowned, her sister's clumsy chopping looked scary.
She stood up, came closer and said, Let me do it. Bang bang bang.
After more than 10 minutes, the tree fell, her hands red from shock.
Let me finish, we should go.
Xingyu took the hatchet, cut off the branches quickly and made a simple pole. She threaded it through the deer's limbs, tied it tightly, looked like a roasted pig carry.
I will go behind, you ahead. Xingyu whispered. Okay.
Yu bit her lip, lifted the pole onto her shoulder, secretly shifted the deer forward so most weight was on her.
Sister? Yu was about to turn. Watch the road, do not fall. Xingyu called quickly. Ah. Yu had to face forward, walking on the rough mountain path. Finally we arrived.
Yu saw the cabin, exhaled in relief. Along the way they alternated carrying until they reached the camp. Yu leaned on the cabin wall and sat down. After 20 minutes, Xingyu brought the deer to the stream to process, while her sister boiled water for dinner. After more than 1 hour, night fell, cool wind refreshed them. Xingyu carried a basket of meat back, tied and hung it on fire to smoke, planning to make jerky.
Finally back. Li Meng put down her bamboo basket, sat on the chair and muttered, going to the hot spring was really too hard. Yes, not easy.
Han nodded, Mao Qiu crawled on her and curled up to sleep.
But the effect is clear, the body feels much better than yesterday.
Li Shu spoke gently, this morning she found the soreness greatly reduced, at least she could hold chopsticks without trembling. In 1 or 2 days it should fully recover. Fong smiled. He decided to cook a good meal for the 3 girls tonight. Tomorrow they would be even better. He stood up, took the iron pot, filled it with water and lit the fire.
Ah. Fong, you also cook tonight? Li Meng asked in surprise.
Yes, why not?
Fong smiled lightly. Fong, let me help prepare the food. Han stepped forward.
Okay, soak some black fungus and straw mushrooms.
Fong spoke gently.
Okay. Han turned to the shelf, tiptoed to find the ceramic jar. Li Meng rested a while, then also helped. Night had fallen. From above looking down, the island had only 13 fires, belonging to 13 surviving teams. That meant only 13 teams remained on the island.
Chapter 513, 150 Days.
It was 8 in the morning. The live broadcast started on time. Good morning everyone, welcome to the Wilderness Survival 365 Days. I am your host today. The image flickered a few times, then Hamin and the others appeared on screen. At the same time, the number of viewers soared from 0 to millions in less than 10 seconds.
Good morning everyone. No Tin Noyet cheerfully waved to greet. Good morning. Tai Din only nodded lightly as usual. Today is the 150th day of wilderness survival.
Hamin summarized the situation.
Time passes so quickly, 150 days have already gone by.
No Tin Noyet sighed. 150 days meant 5 months since the show began.
Yes, only 7 months left.
Hamin said with emotion. During these 5 months many things happened. We saw people grow and change. No Tin Noyet smiled with her hand on her chin. There are still 13 teams remaining. I am curious who can survive the last 7 months.
Hamin engaged the audience.
In fact, everyone surely has their own candidates for the top 3, but with 7 months left, anything can happen. Until the very last moment nothing is certain.
No Tin Noyet added.
Haha, of course it is So Fong and his group.
No Tin Noyet answered without hesitation. Then let us follow the drone camera and see what they are doing now.
Hamin smiled to conclude. Inside the wooden house, Van Han yawned and got out of bed. She put on shoes, lit the fire and placed a pot to boil water. She looked at the wood burning and waited for the water to heat. After more than 10 minutes, Luai Thursday opened the door, carrying clothes down the stairs.
Van Han, good morning. She greeted softly. Good morning. Van Han smiled back. You still wake up early today.
Luai Thursday said gently.
It is a habit.
Van Han said, explaining that in the city she used to wake at 7 to study, or 6 to work. Compared to that, waking here was already late. She washed So Fong's clothes, wrung them dry and hung them on a bamboo rack by the stairs. The rack was made from bamboo bent into a triangle, tied with rope and hardened with fire. They had made more than 20 racks like that in a month. After the hot spring trip, more than a month passed, during which they hunted 5 times, bringing back prey 3 times, ensuring meat every day. Nothing special happened. The axe finally got sharpened, and they enjoyed new tools, among them a large clay bathtub 80 centimeters wide and 1 meter 5 long. Making it was hard. Only digging clay already took half a day for Lu Waimong. With So Fong's help they got enough material. They spent another day making clay mold and kiln, 1 more day drying. On the 3rd day they started firing, and 1 more day to reach the needed temperature. On the 4th day, the tub came out, filled with water and tested. No problem was found. That night they all bathed in hot water. They also made bowls, pots, jugs, and most importantly a full mahjong set from clay.
So Fong even made a wooden box for it.
After hanging clothes, Van Han returned to see So Fong and Lu Waimong waking, sitting on the bed dazed.
No, you must practice horse stance.
Lu Waimong waved, got down, put on shoes and took washing items downstairs.
Sister Mong, what is wrong?
Van Han asked in surprise. She remembered Lu Waimong had not practiced stance for a month. She thinks her thighs are big, wants to slim down. So Fong shrugged helplessly. In the morning, Lu Waimong compared her legs to her sister, found them much thicker, and decided to train again.
She looked down and asked,
books.
"So Fong, are my legs fat?" "Too skinny, you should eat more."
So Fong replied seriously.
"Nonsense, where am I skinny? I feel fat."
Van Han blushed and stomped.
"It is fine, not fat at all, I like it this way." So Fong laughed.
"I will not talk to you, I will prepare breakfast." Van Han's face turned red, she handed him washing tools then left.
So Fong laughed, took the toothbrush and towel downstairs.
In the live room, viewers commented rapidly.
"Ah! So Fong is teasing too much. Learned it, I will try it on my senior sister. Every day calling senior this and that, can you stop? I suspect you are flirting, and I have proof." Chapter 514, Sand Sculpture. Inside the wooden cabin, the four sat around the wooden table for breakfast. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Godan crawled in from the window, jumped onto the rack and then onto the table. Van Han stretched out her slender finger, tapped its head and scolded, "You never stay home, where do you always run off to?" For more than a month it had only come home a few times, each time staying one night then vanishing. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Its fluffy tail curled, waving its little paws as if telling a story. Lu Waimeng smirked and teased, "I think it has a squirrel lover outside." "Then bring it back to meet the family head." So Fong chuckled, grabbing a walnut from the rack, cracking it and putting it on the table. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Godan quickly hugged the walnut and munched. "So Fong, what are we doing today, hunting?" Lu Waimeng asked lightly. "We will go to the beach, the salt is running out." So Fong replied thoughtfully. "Do we have to sleep outside?" Van Han's dark eyes lit up. "Yes, bring the sleeping bags." So Fong nodded, boiling salt takes time so overnight is needed. Van Han, eat more, do not rush. So Fong laughed. "I am full." She sweetly replied. "Only 5 bowls, how can you be full?" So Fong said calmly. The Lu sisters froze then tried to hold back their laughter. So Fong. Van Han's pretty face flushed, she pouted and glared at him. "Be good, eat a bit more." His voice was gentle as he took her bowl and filled it full again. "Really, I did not eat that much." She scolded, her face red, but still obediently ate. "Have some more." So Fong smiled tenderly, scooping another big spoonful of meat into her bowl, thinking that in the city they ate too little, how could they starve here? "Enough, leave some for Meng's sister and Thursday's sister." She hugged her bowl, turning away. Burp. Lu Waimeng could not hold back a soft belch. "The rest is yours." So Fong said amusedly, he cooked lots of meat today so she could eat more. If Van Han cooked, it would only fill the 3 girls, leaving him partly hungry. So much left. Van Han pursed her lips, glaring but smiling inside. "You eat more, I cannot." So Fong waved, then tied the sleeping bags. "Honestly." Van Han kept eating, after more than 10 minutes the pot was empty. She rubbed her belly and said cheerfully, "So full. Drink some pine leaf tea to digest." Lu Wai Thursday set a cup before her. "Thank you Thursday sister." Van Han smiled. Half an hour later, the 4 carried bamboo baskets, locked the gate and went down the stream. They passed their old camp, stopped briefly then moved on. By afternoon they reached the beach with coconut trees. Meng's sister not afraid anymore?" Van Han asked in surprise. "Not afraid, with So Fong here." Lu Waimeng replied and glanced at him. "Just play near the shore, do not go deep." So Fong reminded. "Let's boil the salt first." Lu Wai Thursday said. "Okay." Lu Waimeng quickly took out the clay jar and iron pot. Lu Wai Thursday collected dry coconut husks, lit the fire and placed the pots. "Done, go now." So Fong sat on the sand,
watching both fire and sea. We will change clothes. Lu Weimeng cheerfully took out rough cloth swimsuits they had sewn.
Go, call loudly if needed. So Fong waved. Got it. Van Han sweetly replied, running with Meng into the coconut grove. So Fong controlled the drone to wait. After more than 10 minutes, the three girls returned in swimsuits, then he launched it. Warm up first. So Fong called. Okay.
Lu Weimeng stopped, began exercises, the sisters followed, then they entered the sea.
Ha, ambush me ha. Lu Weimeng retaliated, splashing water at Van Han and even Thursday.
The three girls laughed and played in the shallow water. So Fong felt relieved, as long as they did not go deep it was safe. He stirred the boiling pots with a wooden spoon, eyes still watching the shore.
A bit boring, let's make a sand sculpture.
He stood, heaped sand, shaped it with wood, adding more sand to fix it. Time passed slowly, the three girls grew tired and walked along the beach.
Sometimes picking seaweed, sometimes shells and snails, enjoying themselves endlessly. Chapter 5:15, Find a chance to kick them. Guess who?
So Fong smiled without turning.
Is it me? Van Han's pearl-like eyes were full of hesitation. Correct. So Fong turned and clapped once.
Van Han was surprised, she had only spoken on a whim.
Wait, it will be finished soon.
So Fong lowered his head and worked carefully, the wood in his hands turning deftly as he carved a girl's face vivid and lifelike. Then he slowly used fine sand to shape the body, changing the legs into a fish tail.
So Fong, are you making a mermaid?
Lu Weimeng stepped on the fine sand back to the shore and approached.
This is Van Han.
Lu Wei Thursday said, startled.
A mermaid version of Van Han, quite alluring.
Lu Weimeng mocked.
Hee, it already looks very similar.
Van Han pouted, sat cross-legged to watch So Fong finish the sand statue.
Such a life makes me envious. No Tin Noyet sighed. Yes, away from the noisy city. Ha Min agreed.
Wonderful, making sand statues, caring for little animals, and sometimes bathing in hot springs. No Tin Noyet tilted her head, eyes full of dreams.
Remember, the other contestants are still worried about food. Vong Lam admired.
He could not fault So Fong's group, they lived with style in the wild, always finding ways to amuse themselves, a world apart from others. Tai Vaidin pursed her lips, staring at the screen, focused on So Fong making the sand statue.
Then let us watch the other contestants.
Ha Min changed the subject and shifted attention. The camera moved and cleared to show Tran Chi Hai and his team.
All meet, should we strike?
Truloy swallowed and his eyes lit up at the deer herd.
Wait a moment.
Hak Hung said in a low voice, facing the herd, he wanted it badly and thus had to be cautious.
How long to wait? We have been watching for half an hour. Truloy muttered. Can you be more patient?
Tran Chi Hai said coldly. Truloy was speechless and fell silent. They had gone 5 or 6 days without meat. This herd had been spotted a month earlier, yet until now they had only caught one fawn, eating meat once a day which could not last a week. That time Hak Hung had acted.
Stop arguing. Truloy tugged his brother's sleeve. Understood. Truloy replied gloomily. Reluctantly Truloy glanced at his brother, then asked softly, what now? Same as before?
The first time they caught a fawn Hak Hung used a rope with stones on each end, throwing it so it spun and, by inertia, wrapped around the prey.
Do that again?
Tran Chi Hai asked.
Close combat. Hak Hung answered calmly. Are you joking?
Before you get close the deer will run.
Truloy scoffed. Brother, shut up. Truloy snapped. Hak Hung, make them quiet.
Tran Chi Hai said sternly.
Fine.
Hak Hung turned, clenched his fists with a heavy sound.
Don't fight, keep the peace.
True Loy hurriedly gestured. His face trembled as he watched Hak Hung's bulging muscles, knowing he could not withstand a punch.
Hak Hung stopped and looked at Tran Chi Hai. Think of how to catch the deer first. Tran Chi Hai said quietly.
Hak Hung glanced at the True brothers, knowing this alliance would not last long. Cracks had formed.
You two circle and drive them this way, leave the rest to me. Hak Hung pointed and organized the plan. I understand. True Loy nodded and moved to the indicated position. True Loy left silently too, realizing cooperation was necessary or they would have only wild vegetable soup tonight. Find a chance to kick them. Tran Chi Hai lowered his voice. Hak Hung nodded.
Tran Chi Hai smirked and moved to another position to help drive the herd.
Damn bear, impressive muscles. True Loy growled outwardly, inwardly frustrated. If things continued, sooner or later they would split up. Although he wanted that, he worried, without Hak Hung's hunting skill, could he and his brothers still get meat?
After more than 10 minutes, thinking his brother and Tran Chi Hai were in place, he stepped out of the woods, acting fierce toward the deer.
The herd panicked and ran the other way. Awah!
On the other side, True Loy jumped out and howled to scare them. Then Tran Chi Hai appeared, the three men coordinating to herd the deer.
Thump thump thump.
The deer panicked and charged toward Hak Hung, thinking it was an escape, unaware he lay in ambush, letting them run into the trap. Soon the herd rushed into the forest toward Hak Hung's hiding place.
Chapter 516, For Meat, Forbearance. Thump thump thump.
The herd of deer rushed closer, entering the woods and running toward him. Soon the first deer brushed past, followed by the second, then the third. When the sixth deer came, Hei Xiong moved, stepping sideways, arms wide, catching a deer head-on, while the rest veered away in panic.
His arms clamped around its neck, momentum dragging them both down. He clenched his teeth, flipped, pinned the deer beneath him, then twisted its neck with all his might. His face darkened, arms locked like iron around the creature. Time dragged, the herd fled, leaving only him gripping the struggling animal. Thump thump thump. The Zhao brothers and Chen Jishi arrived, eyes lighting up. What a big deer! Zhao Lei's eyes gleamed, dinner was secured. Truly caught one, amazing! Zhao Loi shouted. Finally a real catch.
Chen Jishi nodded calmly, this would feed them for a while.
Give me the knife. Hei Xiong growled.
Chen handed it, he stabbed under the deer's jaw, held its body down until it stilled, dead. He tossed the knife aside, stood, checked his wounds.
The impact earlier was fierce, an ordinary man would be thrown, plus he had been struck by hooves more than once. It's nothing. He replied flatly, just bruises. I'll add to your reward. Chen patted his shoulder. Hei Xiong stayed silent. Carry it back. Chen ordered. No problem.
Zhao Lei held back his furious brother, whispered, Brother, now is not the time.
I know.
Zhao Loi ground his teeth, swallowing anger for the sake of meat.
They lifted the deer together, heading for the bamboo grove. At least some use. Chen murmured, following. Hei Xiong glanced skyward, the sun dipping west. Darkness was near. Bang bang. Meanwhile, Yun Han and Suafeng searched the coconut grove for coconut crabs. Suafeng, it's spring, can there still be crabs? She pouted, they had searched half an hour with no sign. Did we eat them all?
She covered her mouth, giggling.
We didn't eat that many.
He smiled, the grove was vast, no shortage of crabs, the thought of extinction too much.
Suafeng, is that a crab?
Her eyes lit, pointing at a palm crown.
Yes, it climbed up there.
He recalled they could climb, crack coconuts at the top.
What now, will you climb? She asked. No need, step back, I'll shake it down. He rolled up sleeves, grasped the trunk, muscles bulging, shaking the tree until coconuts swayed. Clatter!
The crab fell, along with several nuts.
She dashed, stepped on it so it couldn't escape. Let's see if there are more. He tied it quickly, tossed it into a bamboo basket.
One crab was not enough for 4 people, at least 5, and they had to weigh one too. They searched until nightfall, filling the basket with 4 large crabs.
Let's go back.
He took her hand.
Suafong, where are you?
From the beach came Lu Yiming's call, firelight flickering.
Here. Yun Han waved. Good, I almost brought torches. Lu Yimeng sighed. It's fine.
Suafong raised the basket, grinned, tonight, coconut crab feast. Seafood is easy, tomorrow morning we'll fish and gather.
He chuckled. Yes, we must, living by the sea. Yun Han nodded.
Back now, don't let Sister Thursday worry. She urged gently.
All right.
He led her out. Soon the 3 reached the beach. Lu Yithu was already cooking, iron pot and clay jar bubbling with fresh water.
Hearing them, she turned, relieved, asked, How was the harvest? Not bad, if not for nightfall, we'd catch more. Suafong set the basket down. Enough, save some for next time.
Yun Han scolded lightly, rolling sleeves to help prepare dinner.
Chapter 517, Foxtail Grass. Crackling.
In the coconut forest, near the sandy shore, a bonfire burned brightly. The 4 of them sat together, cooking coconut crabs and seafood soup.
Clatter, clatter. Sister Meng, endure a little longer, it will be ready soon. Van Han smiled gently at Don Don. It is fine, I can wait.
Lu Yimeng pressed her lips, pretending not to be impatient.
Lu Yimeng, your drool is about to fall. Lu Y Thursday whispered. Really?
Lu Yimeng blushed, quickly wiping her mouth, indeed a bit wet.
Drink some coconut water.
So Fong split a coconut and handed it to her.
317. Thank you.
Lu Yimeng giggled, hugging the coconut and drinking, quenching her thirst. About 15 minutes later, a hot soup and steamed crabs were placed neatly on a clean rock.
Let me grind some horseradish, it will taste better.
Van Han muttered, taking some herbs from a basket, grinding them into paste as dipping sauce. Lu Yimeng could not wait, broke a crab leg, peeled it, stuffed meat in her mouth, eyes full of joy.
Still so delicious. Eat more if you like it. So Fong smiled. Sounds like an advertisement.
Van Han laughed with her eyes. Amid laughter, dinner ended in half an hour, crab shells piled beside the fire.
Where shall we sleep tonight? No shelter built. Van Han asked.
No need, the beach is safe, next time we can make hammocks, now just sleep on the sand.
So Fong said softly. All right. Van Han nodded, spreading the sleeping bag on the beach.
After dinner, they boiled more seawater, filled bamboo tubes with salt, enough for a while.
Go to sleep now.
Lu Yimeng yawned, the sea breeze bringing drowsiness.
Sleep early, tomorrow we rise early. So Fong urged. Yes.
The 3 girls answered, took off shoes and slipped into sleeping bags. The soft sand was comfortable.
Crackling. So Fong lit a torch, the night grew colder by the sea. So Fong, you are not sleeping yet? Van Han asked. Soon, you sleep first. So Fong spoke gently, planning to keep watch. Do not stay up too late.
Van Han whispered, then closed her eyes.
So Fong adjusted their sleeping bags, then sat by the fire. Rushing waves.
Lu Yimeng smacked her lips, opened eyes, a new day began. She moved her sister's arm off her chest, long used to the sight.
So beautiful.
She stretched, showing curves, gazing at the sea and sky.
Morning.
So Fong came from the forest with coconuts.
Ah, you are up.
Lu Yimeng exclaimed, glancing at the other sleeping bag, still occupied.
Yes, I found coconuts, we can eat soon.
So Fong set them down. He woke early by body clock.
I will prepare breakfast, after eating we go for seafood. Lu Wai Meng eagerly lit fire.
Soon the other girl and Lu Wai Thursday woke, washed and ate. After more than half an hour, they packed and walked to the rocky shore.
I wonder if we can catch big fish this time. Van Han hoped. If lucky, even a shark is possible. So Fong joked. Van Han blared, catch a shark, feed you first. Who eats who is not certain yet.
So Fong ruffled the girl's hair. Soon they reached the rocks. Sea had receded, then slowly rose.
Be careful. So Fong warned, leading down. The three girls followed, spotting crabs hiding, quickly caught by Lu Wai Meng. Want to run? No way. She grabbed the crab, put it in basket. So Fong smiled, walked to a large tide pool. Seems
NK
luck is
books.
good today,
he said, seeing a fish tail wagging under sand. Soon, the fish was caught and placed in shallow pool.
The four busied, searching pools, caught many shrimps and crabs.
Then So Fong prepared hooks and lines. They fished by the shore. In half an hour, each caught a fish, but rising tide forced them to stop.
Today's harvest is not bad. Van Han smiled sweetly, scooping fish into basket. Good.
The three girls climbed ashore, So Fong behind protecting.
Ah, so much foxtail grass. Lu Wai Meng's eyes shone. Why did we not notice earlier? Foxtail grass, a treasure. So Fong's eyes lit up, knowing food awaited. Chapter 518, The Ancestor of Millet. This is foxtail grass, it can be eaten.
So Fong smiled as he spoke.
Ha! Foxtail grass can be eaten too?
Lu Wai Meng held a stalk at her lips. It swayed lightly in the breeze. She quickly pulled it down, hesitated for a moment, then shoved it into her mouth to chew.
Pa pa pa.
Her face scrunched up, lips pouting. She quickly spat all of it out, tongue curling as she cried, so bitter. I had not finished speaking. Foxtail grass must be processed before it tastes good.
So Fong chuckled, not expecting her to be so impatient. Here, Meng's sister. Van Han hurriedly pulled out a bamboo tube. Inside was only clear water. Clink clink. So Fong, how do you eat foxtail grass then? Lu Wai Thursday asked curiously.
It can be ground into flour to make cakes, but alone it tastes bad. Best mix in some large boiled tubers.
So Fong explained the process briefly.
She then sat down, picked up a military knife and began harvesting.
Flour cakes, I have not eaten for long. Lu Wai Thursday was surprised, then joined her sister to help cut down all the foxtail grass. This should be enough for the four of us to eat one meal, right? Van Han lifted the basket, more than half full. Yes, with some tubers it is enough. So Fong nodded. Then let us go back quickly. Van Han carried the basket forward. Yes, or the fish will spoil. So Fong glanced at the basket of fish already dead. The four sped up. By about 3 o'clock they returned to camp. Finally back. Lu Wai Meng pushed open the gate, sighing at the sight of rabbits running about. Creak. So Fong shut the gate, went to the stream and set down the basket. Fish must be cleaned and smoked for storage. First knock out all the seeds, wash away impurities, then sun dry before grinding into flour. So Fong explained. I understand. Van Han nodded, carrying the basket into the hut to follow instructions. She spread a mat, took out foxtail grass and beat the seeds off. It looks like threshing rice. Lu Wai Meng sat opposite, helping. Ah. Meng's sister knows a lot. Van Han was surprised. Of course, do not underestimate me, I have done farm work before. Meng said proudly. Really? Van Han asked in wonder. Actually, she once shot a neighbor's chicken, could not pay, was punished to thresh rice. Lu Wai Thursday exposed her. So that was it.
Van Han covered her mouth and laughed.
Sister. Meng pouted and cried out. Always exposing me. She muttered. Next is to remove impurities.
Van Han whispered, put seeds in a clay jar with water, stirred with a stick until fluff floated. She skimmed it off with a spoon, repeated several times until mostly clean.
What next? Meng asked curiously.
Dry them, but if we want flour tonight, roast them with fire.
Van Han said gently. I know. Meng ran to the stove, lit a fire, wiped the table clean. Van Han scooped out the seeds, drained and spread them over heat. After half an hour, turning them repeatedly, the seeds dried and gave off a fragrant smell. Looks like millet. Van Han muttered, collecting them in a jar. Looks like millet because it is the ancestor of millet. So Feng's voice sounded behind her. Ah, really? She asked in surprise. Really? Lu Wai Thursday was stunned. This was not in books.
Of course, our ancestors improved foxtail grass many times until it became millet. This process is called domestication.
So Feng explained eagerly. Having foxtail grass meant millet could be eaten in the future.
This was related to last month's gift pack. 4 days ago he opened it. There was a plant-related reward.
Primary plant improvement potion. It contained 8 formulas, could improve many plants, including foxtail grass, so he understood.
This potion could also be used with culture fluid, helping both growth and improvement. At that moment the chat room burst with excitement, messages flying.
Is So Feng telling the truth? Foxtail grass is the ancestor of millet? Yes, online information confirms, this is ancestral wisdom.
As expected of the living encyclopedia, I will also try.
Cutting some to taste later. Chapter 519, Becoming a Teacher.
Su Feng said these were things she did not know, at least her current knowledge did not cover such matters.
So it is like this, Su Feng, I think you could be a biology teacher, you seem to know everything. Lu Wai Meng said with amazement. Exaggerated. Su Feng laughed. I think it makes sense. Lu Wai Thursday nodded. Teaching others how to survive in the wild?
Su Feng teased himself. He, surely many people would want to learn.
Van Han smiled brightly.
Stop thinking, quickly grind some powder to see if we can make cakes.
Su Feng said.
This was a tool often used for grinding medicine, made with the bathtub, like a thick ceramic bowl with a stick 10 times bigger than chopsticks.
The girl put some foxtail seeds inside, slowly grinding clockwise, soon turning into fine powder. Done.
Lu Wai Thursday went to the stove, opened the iron pot, added water, put in big yams and covered it. She asked softly, how long should it cook?
Watch the pot. Su Feng muttered, took a clay pot, scooped some ash, mixed with water, waited for sediment. Su Feng, should noodles also use ash water? Lu Wai Meng asked curiously.
Yes, ash water contains calcium carbonate, it makes noodles elastic. Su Feng smiled faintly.
So that is it. Lu Wai Meng nodded. Of course, in the city you would not need this trouble.
Su Feng said gently.
Got it. Lu Wai Meng replied. Done. Lu Wai Thursday carried peeled steaming yams.
She murmured, if only we had a few eggs. Waiting for wild chickens to lay, who knows when.
Lu Wai Meng glanced at the cage. The wild chicken perched high, seldom coming down. The water should be enough. Van Han whispered, placed yams in the bowl, started kneading.
Quickly flour and yams blended though still rough.
Ah, not hygienic, why no gloves? Are you too idle? Your little hands are cleaner than your mouth. Annoying, this is the wild, no gloves, should Su Feng do it? Using gloves for noodles? Sorry, then the noodles have no soul. The dough formed, she kept kneading until smooth. Add some water, just a little. Van Han reminded. Okay. Lu Wai Thursday poured slowly. Is it enough? She asked. Enough. Van Han nodded. The dough turned light green, looking tasty. Add some oil. Van Han said. How much? Lu Wai-meng held a bowl of oil. 1/3. Van Han estimated. All right. Lu Wai-meng poured. After needing more minutes, the dough was ready. Pretty, but what about taste? Van Han laughed, cut into noodles. Let me cook. Su Feng rolled sleeves, checked boiling water. Hee, I look forward. Lu Wai-meng rubbed hands. You will not be disappointed, Su Feng cooks well. Van Han's eyes shone. She remembered the night at the inn when he cooked noodles. Since entering the forest, she cooked while he hunted and built camp. Makes me more excited. Lu Wai-meng said. Su Feng smiled, cut mushrooms, fish and meat into the pot. Noodles. He stretched his hand. Here. Van Han handed them. Su Feng added noodles, stirred with chopsticks to prevent sticking. Then he added mantis shrimp and shellfish. Finally he scooped noodles, meat, seafood into a bowl, poured broth, a complete dish. Making noodles took effort, so now only one bowl to taste. The girl's eyes sparkled at the green noodles mixed with fish and seafood, truly tempting. Chapter 520, Fertilizer? Lu Wai-meng could not wait, holding chopsticks while swallowing hard. She said, just looking at it makes me hungry. Slurp, slippery noodles. She picked up the noodles and slurped loudly, stuffing a large bite into her mouth. How is it? Su Feng asked gently. Delicious, and very chewy. Lu Wai-meng chewed with bright eyes, raising her thumb in praise. Let me try. Lu Wai Thursday curiously picked up noodles and put them into her mouth. Slurp, slippery noodles. She commented, truly tasty. Save some for me too. Van Han quickly put down her utility knife and ran over. There is more, I will cook again. Su Feng chuckled, turning to boil another portion of noodles. So chewy, it must be thanks to ash, water, and yam. Van Han's eyes shone with joy, finally enjoying noodles. After half an hour, the sisters held their stomachs resting on chairs, 2 big bowls before them emptied, not a drop left. So full. Lu Wai-meng sighed happily. Slurp, slippery noodles. Van Han was still eating. Van Han, do you want another bowl? Su Feng placed his hand on the clay bowl, he was full too. Enough, I ate a lot. Van Han nodded. He put the bowl down, asking softly, really enough? Enough. Van Han replied shyly. Good then. Su Feng smiled tenderly, if not enough he would have to stew meat since the noodles were gone. Slurp, slippery noodles. Van Han ate bite after bite. After 15 minutes she finally put down the bowl, completely full. So full. She rubbed her stomach in satisfaction. This forest has plenty of foxtail grass. Su Feng smiled, he planned to grow some at the yard for medicine experiments. Thinking so, he stood up, searched the wooden shelf for ceramic jars, checking herbs, realizing many were missing. Looks like tomorrow I must pick more in the forest. He muttered. Su Feng, what are you saying? Van Han asked curiously. Nothing. Su Feng curved his lips in a smile. So mysterious. Van Han pouted. The sisters rested, then cleaned dishes downstairs. Half an hour later, 4 of them gathered at the wooden table playing mahjong. Next morning, sunlight bright and warm, another fine day. After breakfast, 3 girls sat on chairs sipping hot tea contentedly. Su Feng, are you going out? Van Han asked when she saw him carrying a bamboo basket. Yes, I will pick herbs, back by afternoon. Su Feng smiled. Do not worry, just around the woods. He patted the girl's head and said softly, do you want to go with me? Yes. Van Han smiled sweetly, quickly stood up to prepare. And you too? So Fong looked at the sisters. I will not go. Lu Wai Thursday answered gently, and quietly
books.
withdrawing her hand from her sister's waist. Then let us go.
Van Han carried the basket, holding a small-toothed knife to dig herbs. Lu Wai Mong leaned on the window, waving, "Be careful, come back soon."
Got it.
So Fong did not turn, waving as he pushed the gate closed behind them.
Lu Wai Mong watched them leave, pouted, "Sister, why not let me go too? Give them some time together." Lu Wai Thursday explained gently. Ah, I understand.
Lu Wai Mong stared outside, though she wanted to join. She knew since living together the couple rarely had private moments.
She turned, bored, asking, "Then what do we do now?" "Weeding, the garden is full, and we must fertilize too." Lu Wai Thursday replied, remembering So Fong's earlier words. All right.
Lu Wai Mong stretched. They went downstairs, crossed the wooden bridge to the other side of the stream.
Lu Wai Mong asked curiously, "Sister, I wonder, is it the land or something else that makes yam and other plants grow so fast?" "I do not know."
Lu Wai Thursday shook her head. The yams were ready, and beans and eggplants also grew fast.
"Sister, are you really a biology student?"
Lu Wai Mong teased.
Lu Wai Thursday's mouth twitched, she could not refute.
She glared at her sister. "Stop talking, start weeding."
"Yes, understood." Lu Wai Mong laughed, even saluted, then crouched to pull weeds.
"Be careful, do not pull herbs with weeds,"
Lu Wai Thursday reminded. Softly.
Seeing her sister careful, she was relieved.
Then Lu Wai Mong nudged her, asking, "You said fertilize, but I think we have none?" Lu Wai Thursday pursed lips, just hearing fertilizer gave a headache. "Sister?" Lu Wai Mong called. "Who said we have none?"
Lu Wai Thursday took a deep breath, then gazed across the stream, under the wooden house.